DeArmond, welcome in and welcome to your first night of high school football. Ladies and gentlemen, high school football is back. It'll get underway this evening at 7 o'clock all across the state of Alabama. And boy, oh boy, do we have some good matchups for you this evening on the high school football level. If you want to get out and watch some, you don't have to travel very far. In fact, all you got to do is, you can ride over to Madison City School Stadium.
Heck of a matchup.
Yeah, Bob Jones going to welcome Coleman tonight, a 7A, 6A matchup there. You can drive over to Albertville. Albertville's going to play host to Arab.
Rivalry.
Gadsden City is going to welcome Muscle Shoals tonight. Columbia is going to welcome Priceville. Those are your local matchups for this evening. In all, there's a slew of games, probably about 20 or so going on across the state of Alabama tonight. And then tomorrow night, in earnest, we get our first full Friday night of high school football. But once again, tonight is the night. Sardis is taking on Geraldine tonight as well.
Yeah,
forgot about that one. So there you go, a little Thursday night football.
And don't forget, Priceville, Chris Foster has moved on to Brookwood. They have a new coach, and we know his father well. He's the head of school, the principal over at Whitesburg Christian Academy at Seth Parker, the son of Robbie Parker. He's taking over that Priceville program, and as you said, they're taking on Coach Sean Watson in Columbia. So that's another Thursday matchup. So we'll have a few.
I believe Priceville was also playing in their first season in 5A.
I think they did. Yeah, because they were in the same region for many, many years with Randolph, and really controlled that region for much of the last 4 to 5 years. But I believe you're right. I think Priceville has moved up this year.
They're in 5A.
This is their first year in 5A. So that school continues to grow.
All right, then that'll lead into Friday night. Make sure you have the 97.7 ESPN the app downloaded, as well as the Talk Radio app as well, because we'll have a handful of games for you going on. Then that'll lead into the high school football scoreboard show. So we've got all kinds of stuff for you in the next 36 hours.
Yeah, our network's going to be up running strong on Friday. We got 5 matchups and we're going to be previewing those throughout the next 2 days. And so we're excited about it. It's going to be another great year of high school football on ESPN 97.7 The Zone, and of course on our sister station, WZZN Talk Radio.
All right, a little high school football for you, and we'll have those scores for you from tonight, tomorrow, and all kinds of stuff. Just looking at some of the matchups for tomorrow night. I mean, May Jemison in Athens.
Over at Joe Davis.
Yeah, they're going to be meeting each other. Gunnersville is going to travel to Southside. Austin and Hartselle. That is always a good one to open up the year. Hartselle will welcome Austin. That is always a tough, fought game.
It's an underrated rivalry.
Yeah.
It's two good programs that are very, very consistent. No doubt about it. And, new era of Hartselle football as well, as they have a new head football coach. And Jeremy Perkins has been a long-time institution now at Austin, and they're going to be a contender as always in 7A Region 4. But it's going to be very interesting to see, how that matchup goes.
The juggernaut that is the Fife Red Devils, they will be at home tomorrow. They're going to take on Good Hope. It's a jamboree. It's a jamboree for Paul Benningfield and company. So they will get the season started a week from Friday. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can join us throughout the morning. The other story does bring us back to college football. And when we were at SEC Media Days, the big conversation was that the Southeastern Conference did not have tiebreaker procedures put into place for the end of the season to determine who would get to the SEC championship. But Greg Sankey said, hold on a minute. We've got framework there. We just don't know exactly how and we'll get it released. Well, they did right before the season started. And here are the 6 factors in the order they will receive. There's an A, B, D, C, E, and F option.
Yep.
So head-to-head among the tied teams, that is the A option. That's the easy one, okay? Then if that doesn't work, then you got to go down to record versus common conference opponents. Well, then you go down to the third option if number 1 and 2 don't work. And that is record against the highest team in the standings that both teams have played and failing that proceeding downward through other common opponents. And if that doesn't work, then you can get to cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents for each team, for each tied team. Essentially, strength of schedule. And then you get the capped relative scoring margin versus all conference opponents. And then the last one, if A, B, C, D, and E don't work, F is just the good old random draw of tied teams.
That'll be great. Then you'll have all kind of conspiracy theories like the Knicks went through with Patrick Ewing.
If it doesn't work, you can just do the random draw.
Random draw. So
I don't think we're going to get down to F.
You would hope not.
I think A, B, C, D, and E would be I don't even know if we'd get down to E, but that is to determine like who would make it to the SEC championship game. That's also to determine like your 2, 3, 4. I mean, that is to determine every bit of the standings as far as if the regular season standings determine a clear conference champion and 2 or more teams are tied for second place, the conference champion will be the home team in the championship game. The tie-breaking procedure will be used to determine the opponent.
Just don't get confused, everybody, because the it'll still be in Atlanta. It's just the first place team will wear the home jerseys and whatever the hell else.
Yes, and number 2 would be that. Now, if a tiebreaker step procedure standings with 2 teams that are tied for first place, both would qualify for the SEC championship game, but then they would have to use the tie-breaking procedures to determine who would be the home team and the away team for the conference game. So these tiebreaker procedures will come into play whether or not your team gets left out is to be determined. So there you go. The SEC now, it is everybody can just relax because the SEC has their tie-breaking procedures out there. All right, 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program this morning. At least you're not the Iowa head coach Kurt Ferentz.
We were just joking about this. I was doing a radio show in another part of the state coming in here, and this is the last question he gave me. He said, did you see the thing about Kurt Ferentz this morning about getting suspended for the first game? And I said, well, I saw it late last night. Kind of shocked me a little bit. I wondered if his own administration was sending him a message because their offense has been so bad. I was like, in this transfer portal NIL era, I mean, trust me, I know Jim Harbaugh the NCAA was up his rear end by the time he left last year. And of course, Michigan's had some sanctions and stuff, but I was like, Iowa? I was like, what did they do? I admitted, I said, I don't know anything about what supposedly recruiting violation they committed. But obviously it hasn't helped the offense.
No, it hasn't. And he's had a horrendous spring. Now he's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
But he's had a horrendous spring. From what I understand, it was a recruiting violation when courting Cade McNamara.
From Michigan.
Before the transfer portal opened in 2022.
So they're saying they tampered?
They tampered.
But it's ironic it's another Michigan guy. I mean, what the hell is it with these Michigan people?
Yes. So Iowa tampered with getting a quarterback.
Right.
That ends
who still may not be any good.
Right. That ends up getting hurt like 3 games or whatever into the
Didn't you say he was like 10 for 50 or something in the spring? I mean, in one of the fall scrimmage.
Yeah.
You gave the stats the other day. It was horrendous.
Like 2 of 22 or something.
I don't know. It was bad.
Fall camp.
Yeah.
But No, it was really bad. I want to say it was 2 of 22.
Yeah.
But yes, so Iowa head coach Kurt Ferentz and the wide receiver coach will be suspended for one game for basically tampering before the transfer portal opened.
Yeah.
My thing is tampering is going on
everywhere.
I'm defending Kurt Ferentz.
I know
saying that you're going after.
That was my point. I mean, I'm like, what?
One coach for this when there are multiple coaches that have gone on the record. Look at the Colorado State head coach, Jay Norvell, who has said, look, we had coaches calling our guys all the time,
right?
All the time.
Well, think about what
Caden Proctor.
Well, but I mean,
Iowa could have got hit twice with this though.
Well, and you wondered if that at first when I saw the headline, I was like, I wonder if that had something to do with Caden Proctor, right. But and then don't forget too. That I was kind of laughing because I was like, with our good friend play to win the game over at Arizona State. He got fired because of what they were doing during COVID. Herm Edwards and that whole coaching staff doing illegal things in recruiting, contacting players, and so I'm like, good grief! I mean, what did Kirk Ferentz do?
Well, we don't know if the suspension was levied by the NCAA or if it was levied by Iowa.
Well, so that's what I was joking about.
They haven't come out and said which one. Now, the AD is going to have a press conference today at 1:30.
Oh, okay.
We'll may find out more there, but he is suspended nonetheless for one game. So we'll see. We'll see. I kind of laughed at that.
You have to.
I was like, oh my God.
As bad as Iowa's been on offense and they get suspended, and then you tell me that it has something to do with somebody else from Michigan. I mean, if Alabama, they got Keon Sabb. I hope right before the season starts they don't have him declared ineligible or something, leaving the Michiganders. I don't know. Good grief. Oh, me.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. All right. 256-576-4977. That is that's how we get you going. Just some news and notes surrounding college football, the Southeastern Conference, and some high school football. Let's get our first break in. When we come back, Nick Saban joined a podcast and had some fun things to say.
Is this the one with Urban Liar? Because I didn't really listen to it, but I saw what
I pulled out two things on there.
I mean, I think Mark Ingram was on it.
It's Mark Ingram, Rob Stone, and Urban Meyer.
Okay.
It's the guys that do the big noon kickoff.
I can't stand Meyer, so I just didn't even want to listen to the Horseman there.
Well,
it's about as bad as what's on the bottom of the screen here.
Yes.
Dumber, and dumbest.
Yes, I know.
You know what I'm saying? The Democratic National morons.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, I know you didn't listen to it, so we'll pull two excerpts from it, two clips from it, and we'll let you listen to it.
I'd rather listen to that than that.
That's why the sound is down. We'll get a break in. Talking Ball next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still working with a clean slate this morning. Traffic at a heavy level all across the valley. You be careful. Put extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
College football.
The ball is caught. It is a touchdown.
Major League Baseball.
That ball is gone. A home run.
This is your place for complete sports coverage all year long. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm on vacation every single day because I love my
back Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the show, 7:18 on a Thursday morning. As we mentioned, we will hear from the Triple Option podcast here in just a minute. Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Rob Stone, they sat down with Nick Saban. He did have some interesting things to say about which national title was his favorite and like the adjustments to college football, not about name, image, and likeness, but about the recruiting calendar. And it's very interesting to hear Nick Saban's thoughts on all of this. But 256-576-4977. Let's go out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
What's up?
I guess Iowa must have been listening to Josh Payton. They decided to kick the Ford.
It's very interesting because with all of the stuff going on in college football, you get somebody that is tampering, so to speak, and you do a game, whether it be the university or the NCAA, we don't know which one, but it's going on all over college football. So I guess they try to make Iowa an example.
I mean, but of all of the people you would screw with Iowa.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
really?
Like, why
that
quarterback? Why that school? So it makes me wonder if the university is doing this themselves and the new AD is kind of putting her finger down because she was the one that decided that Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator, was going to get fired.
Yeah, if he didn't remember, she put all those stipulations in about numbers and how productive the offense had to be.
Well, that was the old AD.
Oh, I thought she did that.
The old AD did that. Then he retired.
Okay.
The new one came in and basically said, "You're done, clean house." And Kurt Ferentz did not like that. He took exception to it. And then now he's getting suspended for a game. So part of me believes this is the school doing this, not the NCAA.
Well, it may be. It'll be interesting to see if Kirk Ferentz decides to throw his hands up and retire. And then if they try to do what they should have done years ago and talk Bob out of retirement, or either, make Jeff stick his head in the toilet and call Mark.
Say, come on, baby, let's go.
Let's come home.
Yep.
Take me home, as Phil Collins sang.
You would have thought if they would go after somebody for tampering, they would have gone after people that had large amounts of people in the transfer portal come to them.
Well, he was a Michigander.
No, you're right, though. That's why I'm like one person, one quarterback, and you go for them to suspend when we have schools calling guys that aren't even in the transfer portal. There's guys there's schools that are calling athletes that aren't even in the portal and telling them we'll pay you $500,000 if you go into the portal and come here.
Well, it makes me wonder, was some of this stuff found in the midst of that Michigan investigation? Is this just byproducts of what shook out of them beating the tree on the Jim Harbaugh stuff by talking to people?
Could be. No, that's something that could happen as well, yeah.
Well, tonight starts week 2 for us. We got a game Thursday night tonight. So getting cleaned up, getting the boiler ready. Going to boil 10, 12 pounds of shrimp, have us a low country bowl set up before the game starts. And the weather turned the way it turned, perfect, just in time.
Well, because y'all had a lot of weather issues last week.
Oh, yeah, I still got trees down.
Oh, wow.
I was sitting here and one just failed. But that going and playing a game that's a non-region game to start the season, it rains, lightnings, and thunders for 2.5 hours. Everybody gets home Saturday morning and gets into bed 2:15 at night. And then you drive all the way back over there another hour and a half to replay the game on Saturday night. And then you get there, and what does it do for 2 hours? Lightning, thunders, and rain. So you sit there. So everybody doesn't get back home in the bed to the same thing. And it just blows my mind how hard we will hold on to playing a non-region game. At some point, just let it go. But they finished the game. They were bound and determined they were going to, so that was the end of it. But I heard y'all laughing about Fife in that matchup tonight. Do y'all expect that to be a fire one?
It's a jamboree, so it's just kind of like it's just for fun. I mean, it's really it's just for fun, but it's just always fun to mention Fife.
Now, have y'all not started your regular season over there yet? Is this still another jamboree week?
No,
just about everybody is starting their season this week.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the state does it. There are 3, 6, 7. I think there's 8 jamboree games between tonight and tomorrow, and then the rest of them will play regular season games.
Okay, so they're not playing an equal amount of games with other people?
No, so the way the state of Alabama does it, they give you 11 weeks to play 10 games. So you can either play 10 straight weeks, or if you play this week, then you will take an off week at some point during the season.
Okay, copy that. Got you. Okay, I was trying to figure out how y'all had teams playing regular season.
I wonder too.
Playing jamboree.
Are we sure that that's a jamboree for 5? Because the only reason I'm asking,
the state listed on the state site.
Yeah,
they list the bottom games as jamborees, and
because everybody last week was supposed to play. That's when you're supposed to play your jamboree. The reason I'm asking is because Alabama High School Football History, which does a great job on their site, had listed this week as open for 5. Now they're playing. And then they take a bye on the last week in November.
Yeah, they list the State High School Athletic Association lists this. They list Cleburne and Anniston as a jamboree, Fife and Good Hope as a jamboree. They list Brilliant and Waterloo as a jamboree, Bayshore and Fruitdale as a jamboree. They list 7 games as a jamboree. And the one tonight, Walter Welburn and Munford, they list as a jamboree. So according to the state site, those are Jamboree games.
Yeah, because Good Hope on Good Hope's schedule, they don't have it listed. It's an open week.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because Fife also has an open week on the 1st of November. And I was wondering if they were still going to try to play 10 games or if they were just going to go with the 9 regular season games this year. So if it's truly listed as a Jamboree, then I guess it doesn't count because Good Hope does have 10 games listed. They only have the 1 open week, which would have been this week. But like you said, they're playing Fife now. So we will see. That always kind of confuses me sometimes because I always thought that the Jamborees had to be played on a certain week and you still couldn't play them this week.
Yeah, if you play 10 games, week 1 starts next week. This is week 0. So if you play 10 weeks, week 1 is next week. So you have 10 weeks from that. So
yeah.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, y'all have a great day. I may try to sneak some crab legs into this tonight and see if anybody notices. So roll tide.
Thanks. All right, let's get a break in because when we come back, Chuck Oliver will be on the other side of the conversation. We'll check in with him and get his thoughts on, week 0 of the college football season.
And Dublin.
Yeah, and his thoughts on the SEC and the tiebreaker procedures.
Yep, there you go.
He may be the one doing the draw.
Maybe.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Maybe a couple of us are going to get a rogue shower across the area. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. We're dropping into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A mostly to partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. We are going to be a little warmer and a little more humid across the area. Temperatures climbing into the lower 90s, dropping into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford summer sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
The only problem we've heard of this morning was a structure fire rekindle in Limestone County on Poplar Point Road. That's in the Clements area. Still may have some fire equipment there. Other than that, we've been event free. It's been a really good ride in this morning. Heavy traffic load, though. You be careful. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the program. We kicked off the show by running down briefly the new Southeastern Conference's tiebreaker procedures, and they're going to be interesting. And Chuck Oliver is going to join us here in a few minutes. We'll get his thoughts on everything. Plus, week 0 of the college football season is quickly, and I mean quickly, upon us. We talk about in 36 hours, we're going to have high school football. Add just another 12 hours to that, and we are going to get our first weekend of college football. Now, here in the state of Alabama, it means a little bit because North Alabama will take on Southeast Missouri State in the Crampton Bowl and the FCS kickoff. But for major college football, 11 a.m. Saturday morning, Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Across the pond.
They'll get the ball rolling. And there's a lot of intrigue with that one because what is Florida State going to look like? What is DJU going to look like?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and Brent Key and Georgia Tech, what are they going to do? How far have they improved? I know it's just week 0, but there's a lot of questions to be answered with that one game. Maybe not get all the answers, but we also got the SEC tiebreaker policy now out so people can just relax. Not that they were anxious to begin with.
Well, we are going to be, and we are anxious to have our next guest now with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and you can listen to him every day here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone from 10 to noon Central. Of course, that would be 11 to 1 Eastern in the great city of Atlanta. It's the Chuck Oliver Show, and the king of college football has been kind enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. First time we've seen or had Chuck on the show since we always connect with him for SEC Media Days. We saw him in Dallas, and we're going to talk some college footballs. It's finally here on Saturday. And the team in his backyard, Georgia Tech, taking on FSU in a very interesting kickoff game. And like Scott said, we're going to talk about those SEC tiebreaker rules and more with Chuck Oliver. Chuck, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Doing good, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on today.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of buzz? You know, we've been kind of having some people on our show this week talk about, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and that Tech might be a sneaky underdog pick. That the spread's kind of been going down a little bit. Last I saw, I think it was down to 10 or 11 points. It's still double digits. I still like Florida State in the game, but Brent Key, they got that commitment the other day from 5-star offensive tackle. They seem to be recruiting well. They had a winning season a year ago. They got a ton of experience back on both sides of the ball. What kind of chances do you give them on a neutral field in Ireland?
I give them a chance to win the ball game. Absolutely. A fair enough chance. I mean, it's college football. When you fill in the blanks of it's Florida State and all that we know about Norvell and Georgia Tech and how much they need to improve on defense, you start to understand the spread there. But the reality is, I mean, guys, we all watch college football every single Saturday. How many 10.5-point favorites lose?
Right.
20-point favorites. Literally every Saturday in college football, you'll have a 20-point favorite lose. So, absolutely, Tech could win the game. I think Florida State, though, and you're right about the steam on the number, because wasn't it 12 and a hook or maybe even 13 way back when it opened?
Yes, a lot of money got put on Georgia Tech in the last 3 or 4 days to bring it down to about 10.5.
Absolutely. And I know, the money line on Tech was a popular thing when it was like plus 380 or whatever it had gotten up to, and that's down as well. I think what's going on is there's a lot of good reason behind it. You're looking at a season opener, and if Florida State gets up, and this is all about the backdoor cover. It absolutely is, because you've got a team in Georgia Tech that if you're losing in the fourth quarter, I tell you what, losing up first quarter into the game, Georgia Tech can fling it. And I mean, they may have and I want to phrase this properly. If you're talking about explosive downfield offenses in the ACC, Georgia Tech may be number one. And that's because I've seen Haynes King do it. Now, he throws too many interceptions, and that's ultimately what you can't do. If you have, about 11 or 12 possessions in a ball game,
yeah,
you can't give away 3 of them. Like, if I have 11 possessions and I actually only get 8, especially against a good opponent. So we all know that about Haynes King, and I think that's the big proof in the pudding for him this season. So they could win, but this really is built for Florida State, I think, to get kind of simple with their running backs and offensive line and Tech's inability to stop the run.
So DJU has his most productive season last year at Oregon State, transfers back to the ACC. What are the expectations for him at quarterback for Florida State this year?
Well, this is the only head coach who's ever gotten a DJU with 40 career starts. He's played in dang near 50 games, and he had a bunch of it at Clemson for 2 years, and then he had a year with Jonathan Smith. I think the Jonathan Smith thing was really good for him. And you still look at that, and he didn't complete enough passes compared to what a modern college football quarterback does. You got to be pushing like upper 60s, like kind of as a minimum, entry level stuff, and he's not there. And then the same thing with Haynes King. The touchdowns are nice, but the turnovers, I just can't have them. You do get a lot with DJU on the ground as well, but I think they may have 5 or 6 running backs they really like there in Tallahassee. So other than some short yardage and goal line stuff, I'm not certain how much we're going to get from him in the ground game, what they'll need this year. Malik Benson, Hakeem Williams, some of the speed on the outside, they're all jacked up about DJU, and I think he's going to have a really impactful season too.
Well, you could almost call them the Florida State Crimson Tide with as many transfer portal additions as they had from Alabama, Chuck. I loved Roydell Williams when he was at Alabama. I thought he was a team guy, a guy that did whatever you asked him to do. He was a special team stalwart. He finally got a chance to carry the ball some last year as the backup to Jace McClellan. He may very well start for Florida State. You just mentioned one of the transfers, in Malik Benson. TJ Ferguson, I know, has been competing to start along the offensive line, and then Earl Little in the secondary. So there's been a bunch of guys kind of an impact that Florida State team via the transfer portal that they weren't necessarily. Malik played some at Alabama, no doubt. He was a rotational guy, and Roydell played a role, but they went heavy in the portal and got several guys to try to impact that team this year from the University of Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is something I'm glad I'm talking to you, because what I'm hearing is they're viewing Roydell as sort of a muscle up, short yardage, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 sort of back as well. I guess when you have that many running backs, you can be kind of segmented like that, including the other transfer, Jalen Lucas. But they're using Roydell. They're kind of segmenting what they're thinking that he may do with Toafili getting the traditional tailback plays.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because he was a short yardage guy for Alabama a year ago as well.
Yeah.
So I think we all like Florida State in this ball game. How much does Florida State need to win this because of everything? I know people are going to remember how it all ended last year with Florida State being left out of the playoffs and all the conversation. Does Florida State need this game just to back all of that up from last year?
It must win. I don't think I could say that. This is a can't lose. Yeah, and if you watch football, you kind of understand the difference between those two things.
Yes.
Florida, my God, that's a must win. FSU, this is you can't lose this.
Right.
Because if you're going to achieve what you are, it ain't about beating a 6-6 Georgia Tech team, which is kind of what Brent Key's probably heading them towards. And then you can get on a little bit of a run. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna be tricky is the end of September at SMU, and I would expect Florida State to win. SMU's no joke, folks. With Preston Stone, a good offensive line, have the depth they want, but that's just kind of the move up from G5-ish. Like Florida State, they're going to want to set a tone, but like I said, I think that they get a little simple on Saturday and just muscle up and go with 3 or 4 running backs and just kind of beat them because it's a week 1 thing, and you don't want to have to really risk too much if you get up.
It really is, and with Miami, I'm glad you mentioned them. Billy Napier was a huge topic in Dallas. We arrived, and I was thinking that Sam Pittman was on the hottest seat. By the time I left with my guys on Thursday, when we all left, it was basically, it was all Billy Napier. Billy Napier, he has the hottest seat. How hot is Mario's seat? He's being paid a lot of money. Miami has been disappointing his first 2 years. I mean, they're a top 25 preseason team. You just mentioned that it's a must-win for Florida, but how much heat is Mario feeling in your mind?
A bunch, because everybody is almost everyone is going to lose games. Michigan, all right, you went 15-0. Everybody's going to lose games. I cannot have it, Drew, where there is a direct, uninterrupted line from my head coach to why we lost. And that happened last year for Miami. In fact, it was Georgia Tech.
That was awful, yeah.
And over, and he was trying to pad stats. I pad stats when I play EA college football, okay? I get the pad stats. And so I just can't have – you talk about heat? Anything that we can construe, that's Mario. We're going to lay it at his feet. Now, I think that they're too talented to have the kind of record that's going to result in we got to, get Mario out of town. I think just on sheer volume of players they have at a pretty elite level on some of them, including the Malgo who's on defense. They're not going to go 6-6, and that's probably what it would take for them to, get rid of Mario. But they need to achieve more than the bottom line of the talent. I mean, they've got the only great quarterback in the ACC potentially in Cam Ward. They didn't get him through the portal; they got him from the draft. Like he was going to the NFL. So you got to do something with it. You can't be Mac Brown, have an NFL quarterback for 5 straight seasons, and go 38-27, and that includes Mercer and Chattanooga and Furman. 38-27 with 5 years of NFL quarterback. You can't be Mario. Can't do that. You got an NFL quarterback. You got to make hay.
Also, there's a breath of fresh air at Texas A&M. They get Notre Dame, which is a very sneaky opening game. Notre Dame traveling to Kyle Field to take on Texas A&M in week 1.
Yeah, if you're Marcus Freeman, are you towing the line to this is where quarterbacks transfer to not get drafted?
Yeah.
Do y'all know? Now, y'all may know because of how close y'all follow. Y'all know how many touchdowns Riley Leonard threw last year?
I know he was hurt and his numbers fell off the table.
3.
Yeah, he was thought to be. Honestly, if he had the kind of year he had with the nearly 4,000 all-purpose yards as a redshirt freshman, as a redshirt soft, I think he would have turned pro. But that didn't happen, and we all know he ended up at Notre Dame, Chuck.
And so he is a guy that I think is wildly talented.
Yes.
And I know
Agreed.
that the foot didn't work, and then I think it was the shoulder, and then there was something else, and he didn't play in spring. He is a stud. I mean, he is a super talented kid, but you have to go out there and produce. Remember, Sam Hartman left 110 touchdowns in Winston-Salem, and dude didn't get drafted after a year at Notre Dame. So, Mike Norvell, in the transfer era, I have learned as a media predictor, I'm going to lean on the staffs that I can trust. Who are the coaches and the staffs that I trust? Players, when they're looking for where they're like Mike Norvell's a place where I can drop in for 4 months and turn myself into a first-round draft pick, Jermaine Johnson. I don't know that Marcus Freeman's really building that resume. So that's going to be a good game of two, I think, either above average to really, really good teams this year. But there's a bigger story with me with Marcus Freeman, man. He's got to kind of turn that thing around.
Yeah, I think they need to get going. I mean, defensively they're supposed to be really good, but offensively it's been a work in progress. I think I completely agree with you there, no doubt. And then finally, your thoughts on Alabama and Auburn. Both of them are going to be heavily favorites in their openers, but I'm interested, and it's kind of raised my eyebrows. We talked with Brian Matthews. I know you know Brian well earlier in the week about they're kind of still flip-flopping their offensive line because Percy Lewis, I thought, was going to be the left tackle. Now he's getting some looks at left guard. Dylan Wade back out to left tackle. And then Alabama, they've got some competition going on at right tackle and then at the corner spot opposite Domani Jackson. So, but your thoughts on Alabama and Auburn briefly as they head into their openers?
Can I be selfish and look at it from my standpoint? I'm used to my school and Bama, they lead the way to that week 1 neutral site paycheck game. They're supposed to be in this big giant stage somewhere. That's what I'm kind of used to. And now I'm looking out and going Western Kentucky and Alabama A&M. But that's just being selfish. this is a much, 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 much better way, especially for Auburn, to begin this season. You're right about Percy. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen a guard that big. I'm not throwing crossing routes. I'm not kidding. He's like 6'7", 360. That would be different if that's where he stays. I wonder if this was an attention getter. You know, this was Sheriff Justice telling him to turn around and then kicking him in the rear, because when a week and a half before the opener, when you move the transfer left tackle who started in the SEC last year to guard, dude, that's like you're the bullpen catcher. I'm supposed to be a left tackle. And so I wonder if that's an attention getter, or if that really is we're finding our best five at whatever five spots they fit. So that was an interesting announcement. Did they work out the Formby Pritchett thing yet?
I think it's going to be Wilkin to start, but I think they're going to play them both. Pretty much, if you listen to Kalen, now we'll hear from Kalen again today, but Kalen DeBoer, when he spoke after the scrimmage on Saturday, and then Coach Cap, Chris Kapellik did speak last week. They both kind of reiterated that it was a competition ongoing, and if they could see them playing two guys the first couple of weeks and then it playing out. But from what we understand in the scrimmage on Saturday, which was brutally physical, Chuck, I mean, it was as physical as any scrimmage that I can ever remember, even under Nick Saban the last several years. Formby was the guy running first team. So I think Wilkin is going to get the start against Western Kentucky as long as he's healthy. And as you know, Alabama did suffer their first significant injury, though it's not going to lead to any missed time, we think, with Jaden Roberts and the fractured forearm wrist situation on his arm. But again, it sounds like Wilkin has the slight edge. And talking to Coach Cap during the offseason, I had a chance to be around him a little bit, and he said Wilkin was a guy that was always in his office, always studying. And then he also is roommates with Caden Proctor, and I think played a big role in getting Caden back from Iowa, which didn't lead to the suspension for Kirk Ferentz.
Yeah, it did. The other one did.
Yeah, so that's the big thing that had kind of been on my radar, because I'm used to seeing a five-star tackle show up and just kind of take the job, and Pritchett's having to fight for it, which is good. So, and that overall, though, the big thing with Bama for me is, and I may have mentioned this to y'all back in Dallas, that everybody's talking the transition from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. I'm like, that's not the transition. It's Tommy Rees to Kalen DeBoer. Can you, like Jalen Milroe, this season, go boom. That is absolutely what I'm expecting. Because Kalen DeBoer, it's yards and points. Everywhere he goes, it's yards and points.
Yeah.
So the question that I have for you, Chuck, is, are you the guy that's going to do the random draw for tiebreaker F when it comes to the SEC tiebreakers?
I saw that had come out, and it was common opponent, common score, common. And then they get down to, and I'm like, if called upon, I will serve.
That would be an epic Chuck Oliver show that we could play, that we'd have here on 97.
I could see the Southeastern Conference making that a 30-minute special.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, absolutely. That's inventory, brother.
Yep.
Yeah, that's total inventory. Going to have some great inventory. Going to have a great show today, later on the Chuck Oliver Show. Chuck, we always appreciate it, man. We're honored to be an affiliate. It's always great to catch up with you. We're glad college football is back, and we appreciate the time this morning, sir.
No, love the invite. Thank y'all for having me
on. Let's get a break in. Going to wrap up hour one. Coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Several accidents reported. 72 in Moores Mill came in with injury. They canceled Himsey on that. Had one on the Arsenal. Honest John and Snooper reported with injuries. They canceled Himsey on that one. And we had Bellingrath Road, a possible injury accident. I haven't heard any more about it. It may or may not be there. Expert Heart Care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Neck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
T-minus 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
There's a new, more convenient way to gear up with the Trash Pandas. The Trash Pandas store on Hughes Road has all the hottest Trash Pandas merchandise. Plus, enjoy free Trash Pandas morning autograph sessions before each Saturday home game through August. It's in the Hughes Plaza Shopping Center near Just Love Coffee. We'll see you at the new Trash Panda store on Hughes Road.
Let's rock it.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Welcome back. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back. Closing in on hour number one. Closing in on it on being done. 256-576-4977. So you can be a part of the program. Let's go out to the phone line, shall we? Jeff from the Borough with us. Good morning, Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
How's it going, guys? I didn't think any states use week 0 for high school football. Y'all still use that term?
Yeah, that's
what
they
do it in Alabama.
They refer to it as week 0.
Yeah.
Well, they did in Tennessee for a while, and people got tired. I don't really care to me, but people got all tired and sick of it, so they just went to week 1. I mean, we basically, I don't know if y'all do, but we basically got 11 weeks to play 10. Everybody gets a week off. I don't know if they do that.
That's what we have here.
Yeah.
They easily could call this week 1, and then we go week 11, to end the whole thing. But they end it on week 10.
There's a bye built in, like Scott said,
there's
for
a
pretty
bye.
much everybody that you can use.
It's crazy.
Whatever time of the season.
I think we ought to call it week 1 because it is week 1. I mean, everybody, it's just weird to call it week 0.
Why are we calling Saturday's game week 0? God, we only on that week 0.
Yeah, I know.
What is it? Is it week 1.5? I don't know.
Yeah.
And one thing I was going to say, we have 11. What most of the schools I know y'all probably have fall break, but most of the schools down here during fall break don't play. Some of them have to, but most of them don't.
Right.
Half and half.
Yeah, I don't know if they do down there. Well, I was going to say, the one thing I don't like about high school season, up here, all the media people, we'll play about 3 or 4 games a season during this season, and they'll go, "Oh, we're already on week 4. God almighty, first month's gone." Like it's some kind of what do you want? Week 3, 4s? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's the most. That's like college. We already played 3 games. I mean, it's like, I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I don't get the countdowns. I don't get all the. We've already played 3 games and we've got so many more to play. I mean, the NFL wants to go to 18. Or is it 18 games they want to go to? Is that right?
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So when does it stop? I mean, we had 14 in the 60s, 16, 17, now 18. When does it stop? 25, 30? When do we quit?
Well, Jeff, here's
we give it all season.
Here's what they've been trying to do for a while, and they're giving them more. They want to, add regular season games. They've been trying to shorten the preseason because people complained about it. It doesn't count, yada yada yada. Nobody cares, and so they're trying to shorten it to maybe 2 preseason games, and then on the other end, lengthen the regular season. Of course, then it comes into account, the labor agreement and everything and all that. But they're wanting to give the fans more, I guess, games that count because they're still charging them because you talked about the Titans a lot. They still charge these fans big money to go to preseason games that absolutely mean nothing.
Yeah, I would tell you all the teams do that. But I mean, and down here they're complaining about the PSL deal.
Right. The personal seat license. Yeah.
It's going up so much. They're complaining. There's that one guy you were at that on his show doing media days. He's been complaining about that and the Braves. Oh, I can't watch I ain't got balance. I called him one day. I said, get direct TV. You'll have it. Get direct. Quit complaining about having cable and not having it. I can't watch the Braves. Well, poor well. There's about 5 or 6 radio stations here in Tennessee you can listen to. You ain't got to watch them. Just listen on the radio. I tell them, get direct TV and you can afford some money. You mean you got big money? You got big pockets going to get you the satellite instead of cable and stuff. But and things like that. But no, that's what I don't like about foot. It's like we've already played through. But the NFL, what I'm saying is win. I mean, 18. So I mean, to me, they don't care about. To me, the owners don't care about the players' health at all. They say they do. They don't care about what these players are. If they did, they wouldn't have preseason at all. Because a guy hosts a show up here with a guy, he said they shouldn't have preseason at all. He said they get more out of the joint practices than they do preseason games. They get more out of that than they do playing. And I bet the Vikings don't want preseason, do they? Losing their quarterback. I mean, you think they want any preseason games?
Well, no. I mean, the thing is I think it's a tough spot though, because you can never. The one thing you can't predict is an injury.
Yeah, you can't. I mean,
you can't predict.
You got to get them sometime.
Whether it could happen in week 2, it could happen in week 8, it could happen in the summer when you're walking down the sidewalk or something. You can't predict an injury. And so when an injury happens during preseason, all it does is the people that don't want preseason, they're going to take that injury. Yeah, they're going to take that injury and be like, well, look, this injury happened because it was in preseason. No, the injury happened because it happened.
Well, it's like that Braves pitcher one time walked up the clubhouse and tearing up his Achilles,
Yeah.
He was walking to that stuff. Yeah. Like it's free. Stuff like that can happen, like you say. I mean, it can happen, but I'd rather have it happen in week 2 of the regular season than in the preseason if I'm going to have an injury. I just would have it happen during the season time when the games count instead of, I mean, but like you say, they shouldn't be charging, regular prices for preseason games. And thing about it is, like, we've got a station up here that does all the preseason games in Nashville, and they carry them anyway. People, like I said, people watch them. They want to watch because, like when that Hall of Fame game, a guy said, well, football's back, so it's the crave of football. People want to watch it. No matter. I told somebody one time, I said, people will watch. They will watch the babies, 6-month-old babies in diapers running around playing football. That's how bad it is.
Right.
They'll watch it. I'll take the gym and watch some high school volleyball before I'll watch some high school football preseason scrimmages. So, but we start tonight too. We got some Thursday night games tonight. So y'all enjoy the season, guys. Hang in there.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, Jeff from the Borough helping us close hour 1. When we come back, we're going to check in on the Triple Option podcast. Nick Saban had some things to say. Listen, what he had to say about the recruiting calendar is very interesting. I will say that. We'll let you hear it next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
A handful of college football games getting underway this weekend, both in Division I and in the FCS. This Saturday from Dublin, Ireland, it's number 10, Florida State, taking on Georgia Tech. The Seminoles are a 10.5-point favorite, with Georgia Tech at plus 360 on the money line. New Mexico now a 12-point underdog at home against Montana State. The Lobos plus 360 on the money line. Nevada Wolfpack plus 1,500 on the money line. They're a 25-point underdog at home against SMU. Hawaii is favored by 40 at home when they take on Delaware State. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. Welcome back, sportsmedalabama.com. That's how you can get in touch with the guys over at SportsMed and the ladies as well. 256-881-5151. You can experience that SportsMed difference. Give them a call. They're dedicated to providing care that improves lives. The official training providers for the Rocket City Trash Pandas and the UAH Chargers, both of which you can hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio, WZZM. Nick Saban visited with Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, and Rob Stone on the Triple Option podcast the other day. And he did have some interesting stuff to say. One of which is Urban Meyer did ask him about the recruiting calendar and everything else that has gone on in college football and wanted his thoughts, wanted Nick Saban's thoughts on all of that. And Nick Saban did have some interesting things to say.
I don't think there's any question about the fact is, the last, especially 5 years, we've passed a lot of legislation relative to college football that has really made it more difficult to spend time with your current team, even though it's necessary now to spend a lot of time with the current team because you got to recruit the players on your team all the time because basically they're free agents twice a year. And, but I think the biggest change was when, as you mentioned, when they changed the recruiting calendar to allow spring and summer visits, that really took away from those were almost sacred times when we had spring recruiting, but when spring recruiting was over, you had a lot of time to spend with your team, especially, throughout the summer. Even though you weren't allowed to go out there and coach them, you could spend a lot of time with them. And that's all kind of disappeared. And I think the biggest change for me as a coach was how much responsibility you had to put on the strength coach and other people in the organization who couldn't recruit as much. That they had to have great relationships to try to, sort of reinforce the culture that you were trying to get your players to compete to. So it was dramatic change from in just the last 5 years. And even technically in terms of football and how it's changed. I always, sort of mention the fact that in 2013, 2014, we were having a hard time playing against Ole Miss. And they beat us a couple times because they were going so fast on offense. No huddle was kind of the new thing then. And we played Michigan this last year, and they got in a huddle, and our players didn't know how to adjust to that. So in a 10-year period, we went from not being able to play against no huddle to struggling to play against a team that did get in a huddle. So that just kind of reinforces how things have changed on and off the field in the last 10 years.
They weren't. Well, that's some very poignant comments. And I will say, I'm not really in favor of all these summer visits. I really am not.
Right.
I wish they'd do away with it and just let you start taking officials still in September. I don't really get it. I know they can, quote unquote, make decisions. How do these people flip? I mean, they stay committed for 4 weeks, and then they flip. Antonio Coleman's flipped 4 times. I mean, why? Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Coach is saying, though, too, all that takes away from you being away with your team.
Building relationships with your players.
Yes.
I think they ought to change it back. now that all these guys are free agents. Well, then change it back. You've allowed NIL, you've allowed the transfer portal, take away the summer visits. I know part of the rationale was, well, they're out of school. Well, they can take the visit, they can spend more quality time, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I just look, man, you can
are they putting more emphasis on the recruiting side now versus just playing with your team and being with your guys and building all that stuff?
Another reason they did it was because of the early December signing period. Remember, they changed it now because so many guys enroll early. And remember, Scott, February used to be the date everybody waited on. Now that's just anticlimactic. There might be 2 or 3 guys left, but everybody else is enrolling early. That's why it changed. And so that's why I don't think they will change the summer visits and whatnot. And again, but here's another thing that we've talked about it this week, man. That's why you now have general managers in college football that work in lockstep with the head coach. They're in charge of that. The coach is trying to spend time with his team. The general manager setting up, okay, this is who we're recruiting. This is who we're bringing in. They're also monitoring the transfer portal, building relationships with kids. That's why everybody's going to have a general manager, at least in power football.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
Power 4
GM, but they are going to be labeled somewhat. I mean, they will have the title of something, and their job will be basically to manage.
And it's going to trickle down.
Step.
They'll even still do it on the smaller college level. I mean, we didn't ask Brent DeArmond about it yesterday when he came on with us for UNA, but think about how many times he said, we took this guy out of the portal. We took this guy out of the portal. We got Jackson Bratton to come home. I was looking through all the notes, and good Lord, I mean, UNA brought in a ton of guys, and that's there. You in some form or fashion, you're going to have to. That's what's going to have to happen. All these schools, if you're playing Division I football, and even in some cases FCS, because of a lot of guys from the FCS level moving up, you're still going to have general managers. That's just going to have to be something that you're going to have almost like a front office type, which, hell, when I first started following recruiting, one of the on-field coaches was the recruiting coordinator in title, and he would do all that stuff. Yeah, but, hell, that's long gone.
Oh, no. You can't. Can you imagine trying to be the recruiting coordinator and being like the tight ends coach?
Hell, I don't know.
You couldn't do it.
You couldn't. I'm trying to find Westminster a color guy right now on the break. I think I've got it figured out finally. I'm trying to multitask and do something different. I can't imagine what these dang people are doing, trying to put a roster together.
Here's more of this conversation.
Because I think the media, for some reason, doesn't report on it. Pretty traditionalist myself as far as the whole recruiting a high school athlete, bringing them in, developing them, making sure they can operate, life after college, all the things that, I know you coached at Ohio State and the Woody, Bo, all those great coaches we followed. But you see Coach Prime, who I know he's a friend of yours, a friend of mine, and you start transitioning a team every year 40. Sometimes, I see those numbers, and it astonishes me that you could rebuild a team and you get some of those kids aren't even showing up until July. And what's not being talked about is the residual. When I see, and I talk to high school coach, I still have so many friends like we all do. When you see a program say, I'm not going to recruit high school players, I'm saving, people don't realize that's the residual of that is those high school players might not be getting those opportunities that, I'm wondering where that's going to end up, because at the end of the day, college football was there for a reason. It's been there for a long time before us, and it's going to be there a long time after us. And that's to take young people, get them in a great environment, toughen them up, make sure academically they're set, and they can go live life after this game's done. That's the world I grew up in. Now that you see the teams are more focused on transfer portal, what's a residual in your mind of that and down to the high school athlete?
Yeah, well, it's always been my philosophy, and I think yours as well, is, players that came into your program, the number one goal is how can we help them be more successful in life because they were involved in the program. So you're really going to create to college to create value for your future. And as an athlete, that could be on the field in terms of developing a career at the next level. But most importantly, preparing yourself for the day you couldn't play football. And that means making sure you get an education. And, I'm really proud of the fact that we had 668 degrees here in 7 years. Like 575 of them were undergraduate. And a lot of graduate degrees, from our players. And that's really what it's all about. Now, you and I coached back in the day where, we didn't have progress toward the degree rules. We could take as many hours in the summer to get eligible, and the graduation rates were, not very good. And we went through probably a 25-year process of developing ways that we could make sure guys were developing careers off the field. And we got to the point where we have 85% graduation rates, and we had personal development programs, mental health care. We had all these things that, enhance players having the opportunity to be, more successful in life. And, the one fear that I have is, guys being able to transfer, especially 2 or 3 times, may impact how many guys graduate. So we may have, down the road, we may have some sad stories about what happens to these players. And has all this progress that we made through these years to get where we are now, is this going to be something that really doesn't enhance the opportunity of helping that continue to grow and be successful in the future? So I am very concerned about that, because there is some statistical information out there as to when you transfer, how that impacts your chances to graduate. And I do think that, having the ability to transfer after, 2 or 3 years of school, and you can go someplace else and play, maybe that's not a terrible thing in some cases. But, when guys just do it for financial reasons, I think, it's a little short-sighted in terms of what they can develop, down the road.
Coach opening up a little bit on this podcast.
Yeah, again, I've always said he's going to be the preeminent voice in college football that everybody looks to.
Yeah.
Herb's been out of the game for a while, okay?
Yeah.
And then he had a Lou Holtz disaster in the NFL. But, but he, like I said, I just think Coach Saban is going to bring up a lot of salient points. And this game is going to change again in 2 or 3 years. They have to fix it, because right now this is just the Wild West. You can't keep up with everybody being a free agent every year and having Mike Gundy say, stop calling, trying to get more money. You're not getting any more. Shut up and play, which I really love.
Mike Gundy says that, then 24 hours later puts a QR code on all of the back of the helmets.
Where you can friggin'
donate
for a big play. If he makes a big play, give him a $300 handshake via a QR code. That's where we are right now. That's got to be fixed. You shouldn't be able to do that.
Oh, man.
Good Lord.
I can see the starting lineups now. Like, how ABC and ESPN, hi, I'm so-and-so high school, Auburn University, Alabama, University of Alabama. By the way, my Venmo is whatever. Donate some money to me.
No, I mean, they announced the starting lineups with your Cash App down there at the bottom or something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Cash App me here, man.
I'm Scott Tyson. My Cash App is at Scott Tyson. Give me some money for the starting lineup.
He makes a big hit there. It's targeting, but Cash App him.
Yeah. Oh, that's a touchdown.
Oh, that's a Cash App.
That's a cash.
I can just see these. You're going to have to hide these kids' phones. They're going to be running over to their friggin' phones on the sideline. Hey, dog, did anything come in?
I got $50.
Yeah.
I got 200. Yes.
You got his agent texting him during the game. Hey, man, it's flowing in. Keep making plays.
You got money. What is it, JG Wentworth?
Oh, my goodness.
JG Wentworth, you got money.
Yeah. 877 cash. No. Whatever the hell it was.
Those fast food tip screens just pop up after a big play. 10, 15, 20%.
Yeah, you get a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Just make sure you got the right Cash App and don't send all your money to India.
Send it to the wrong person.
I know. Hey, this YouTube stuff, when you find out how these...
We eating good tonight, folks.
Hey, man, one of the classic YouTube channels I found is where they got these guys that scam scammers, man. It's hilarious.
I've seen those.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I've seen that.
They get these guys all torn up, man.
But don't look when these scammers call on the phones.
Yeah.
Haven't you ever had fun with them? Haven't you ever just?
I did one time. I told them I was calling my bank and I was threatening it, and I got the diddly-dee. Yeah, they hung up quick, man.
Really?
And whatever you buy a gift card, don't do it.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
Oh, I'm just saying, don't do
What's
it.
wrong with that? What's wrong with buying a gift card from a scammer that you don't know over the phone? What could go wrong with that?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. 8:15 on a, what day is it? Hell, Thursday? I don't know where we're at. Oh.
I think it's the 22nd of August, and it's
It
Thursday.
has felt like an eternity. This week has felt like an eternity.
It's really been crazy. I mean, we got so much going on. I mean, everybody's been stressed out.
We do. And high school football's tomorrow. And, you know,
we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out.
General managers, we could use one for all the stuff that we
I saw our old one at Baumhauer's the other day. He was, you're going to be hooked up with him on Friday nights. You know, you're going to be on in Florence there, Mike.
Yes, I will be on. I believe I'm on in Gadsden too.
Oh, you're back on Gadsden?
Hell, I don't know.
I always screw that up because I always screw up, say team of the week, and Scott glares at me like, you can't say that.
You can't say team of the week.
Because we're on a bunch of different stations. So I always forget.
No, when we had the little show,
right?
When we had the little show, it was easy to do.
Now we're all over North Alabama, though.
Yes, now we're all through the state. So we did it that one time, and I got a call saying, hey, from the people that live in the penthouse. They were saying, hey, look, you can't say team of the week anymore.
Well, you can't do this because
they're not paying for all that.
Yeah, they're not paying.
And I'm like, well, okay, so strip us all everything we can. What can we say?
You got to get it right.
Can't say anything.
So there you go. We
All
are
right.
still going to have a team of the week, though.
No, we are.
Brought to you by Brian
Look,
Bank,
I guess
right?
so right now, we are over. We're just 36 hours, 34 hours away.
Yeah.
And all I know now, it's the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show powered by blankety blank.
So we're working on the powered by tomorrow.
I think. I don't think we have. I think it's just a blank. I think I may just introduce it as the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Show powered by blankety blank.
I kept screwing it up, so I've got to know.
Until somebody wants to be the blankety blank.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Let's get a break in. 256-576-4977.
That is the right number.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck coming in at Moores Mill and Darwin Road. That one sounds like it's going to be an injury type. Got one on I-65 southbound, Tennessee River Bridge. Apparently had a rock hit a windshield there, busted out the windshield. That one's pulled off to the side of the road on the bridge. We got I-65 northbound at the 335. That one's a no injury. Wilson Dam and Avalon in the Shoals may have an injury. One in Jackson County, 279 and Anderson Street also may be an injury type. The 8th annual Bernard Blues and Barbecue Fest is coming September 7th and 8th next to Ave Maria Grotto at St. Bernard in Coleman. Arts and crafts, live music, great barbecue, a KC cook-off, and a $10,000 giveaway. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. We took the commercial break to put the train back on the tracks.
Yeah, this show has really been crazy.
Well, I mean, look, we actually had common sense from Urban Meyer. We did have common sense. Hey, the one thing we didn't get to, though, in that last segment was Mark Ingram, part of this podcast, did ask Nick Saban about his favorite national championship.
Coach, 7 national titles. 7 national titles. Is there one that sticks out to you most? That's your favorite, or one that just sticks? That's one that stands out more than the others.
Well, I think the first one obviously was at LSU in 2003.
Oh, damn!
And then the 2009 first championship here at Alabama. And the reason those two first probably are the ones that resonate the most for me is what I mentioned before is all those guys came to the program when the program really wasn't successful. You know, once a program's successful, you know, sometimes players come because of what you can do for them,
right.
Not really what they can do for the university or building a program or whatever. And it's okay that happens, but it's a lot more meaningful when all these players came to try to prove something and work their butt off to make it happen, and you're a part of it, and you grow together as a team. And I think those two are the because they were the first at each place, were the most special.
There you go. That's pretty cool. There's a couple enlightening moments in there, but it was pretty fun. Let's go out there. Bryce is with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Bryce.
Well, I figured he was going to say what he said to Ingram because he was part of that in 2009. But to me, I'm not Nick Saban, but I would say the COVID year is the favorite one to me because nobody expected them to get there and to win. I don't know what y'all's opinion is, but that's where I'm at on it.
And are you talking
about the national championships for Alabama? He says the COVID one would be his most favorite.
Well,
one.
I mean, the thing with that was nobody really knew how good anyone would be because, first of all, I think a lot of people thought that the season was going to get canceled, period, especially with Kevin Warren and the big dummies over there, listening to Dr. Dumbass and basically, they did cancel their season, really.
They did.
And then when they looked like morons and listened to Democrats, they decided to, save face and start in November. And so and Sankey was just sort of watching everything like, we're not panicking yet. Let's see what we can do. And then they made the all SEC schedule, and then Alabama had a great team. But I don't disagree with you completely because nobody knew how good Mac Jones was going to be because he'd only started 2 games. He'd been good, but nobody knew if he'd be great or not. Devontae Smith, he turned into a monster. And then, and Jalen Waddle. And then Waddle got hurt. People forget that because that team, we never saw how dominant they truly could have been if Jalen had stayed healthy because I fully believe if he's healthy, they're as good as that LSU offense the year before, because Alabama was just dominant. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say if I had to rank them, I would say 2009 was a huge one just because of how good that Florida team was. Alabama beat because Florida was kind of the standard. Right. And then 20 makes sense because, again, they were supposed to be good, in 15. They were supposed to be good in 17. 20 was just a lot of uncertainty around the entire sport because we didn't even know if there would be a season.
Well, and think about 09. Think about that first one that Alabama got with Nick Saban. Think about how many people in the state reacted the way they did, taking out second mortgages on their homes to get out to the Rose Bowl, doing everything that they did because it had been so long since Alabama had won that national title. And yes, at the time, nobody could foresee the run that Alabama was going to go on, the 7 national titles or 6. No one could see that. And so that first one was so special because you didn't know as an Alabama fan if they were ever going to get back there again. You thought maybe they could, but you didn't know for sure because at the time, no college football program had done what Alabama was about to do.
Right. And you're right, Scott. Hey, guys, real quick, is the UNA game, is it televised?
Yes. Sir. On ESPN.
Yep, 6 o'clock.
And 6 o'clock, and it's going to be in Montgomery, right?
Yes, sir. Crampton
Bowl.
Yep.
Hey, guys, y'all talking about telemarketing a while ago.
Hello, how are you? My name is Mike.
Yeah, my name is Mike, and I'm calling from Florida. What the hell
Listen
ever?
for a minute. Listen, my dad had the best thing when people would come up, was at a gas station, they'd come up and ask him for money. He said, "Man, you're quick. I was fixing to ask you the same thing." and when people would call him on the phone, I mean, he would say, "Wow, I was dialing your number, man, to ask you the same thing. You're quick." He just cut them off at the pass, He cut up with them like y'all said, It was hilarious the way it cracked me up, and I started doing the same thing, and that gets them off real quick. And the part about the bank is good too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what we were talking about during the break. I was like, man, I've been dealing with a customer service issue the last 3 days. And every time I try to call,
sound like he got a call from Mike from India.
Yeah, it's like he's like, "This is Mike," and I'm like,
"No, it's not.
Your name is not Mike. There is no way your name is Mike.
Miguel.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
I don't know. Yeah,
and there is no way your name is Mike."
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I like the part about when they call you, and you said, "Well, I'm calling my bank, to verify." They'll hang up then, or you cut them off at the path. They don't know how, especially when my dad would do. They wouldn't know what to say next when he said, "Man, you're fast. I was trying to dial you, and you called me before I could reach you." I mean, they don't know what to say then, But guys, anything else that I missed this morning?
I think that's about it. That's about it.
So I would say the real big games is probably in this area probably the UNA game and I guess the one that they're playing in Ireland.
Yeah, the Florida State Georgia Tech game.
Why do they do that? Are they trying to make football more relative over there? Is that why they do stuff like that?
To be honest with you, I have no idea why they're playing this one in Ireland.
Just think about the cost and stuff getting everybody over there.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you and the way things are, you wonder why they're doing it. It don't make a lot of sense. And I hate. That's just my opinion. And they're not going to listen to what I'm saying. I don't know what y'all think about it, but
well, according to Florida State, the reason why they are doing it is in an effort to deepen connections between the university, the state of Florida, and Ireland.
Good God.
And for students, faculty, and alumni to participate in an historic event and experience Irish culture.
Well, the bottom line is to get everybody off of Florida State for what happened last year. It's basically what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's down to a nutshell. I mean, I'm Scotch-Irish. I'm glad they're playing over there, but I step back and I think about for a minute what it's costing to get them over there. But I warned y'all about this bimbo stuff.
Yeah. All right, Bryce. Thanks for the phone call.
Thank y'all. I
The
appreciate y'all.
Irish
Bye.
American Events Limited, they are paying for Florida State's charter from Dublin and the return flight on Monday. The Seminoles are spending an extra day in there. They are also paying for that. Yeah, they are also paying for that as well. So Florida State has requested to send 70 band members and cheerleaders. But through the school's Great Give one-day fundraiser and other efforts, they'll send about 170 band members. So they raised funds for the band to go. So they got all of them to go. Band tickets are complimentary. The Irish American events, they're covering the cost of 120 hotel rooms for players, coaches, and supports. FSU received an allotment of 15,000 tickets. So I'm sure Georgia Tech received that as well. But Florida State officials, they're obligated to participate in a range of events. They have to do some events while they're over there. But anyway, that's what Florida State is getting for going over there. So really, it looks like the Irish American Events Limited is helping take care of all of this for Florida State.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get a break in. Rodney Orr is on the other side.
We think.
We hope. We've paid the phone bill.
Yeah, not Mike from India.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Maybe a couple of us are going to get a rogue shower across the area. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. We're dropping into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A mostly to partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. We are going to be a little warmer and a little more humid across the area. Temperatures climbing into the lower 90s, dropping into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's got a wreck in Limestone County, 72 in Mooresville Road. That one's got an overturned vehicle. They reported entrapment, but now we've got a unit on the scene reporting nobody's trapped. We got a wreck at Moores Mill in Darwin that's reported as an injury type. Everything else from earlier should now be cleared out of the way. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome into the show. Welcome back to the show, I should say. 8:34 on a Thursday morning. And we've talked a lot about Alabama football. We've talked a lot about them getting ready for the new season. But they've also had some recruiting news, positive news happen this week. Yes, we are week 0 of the college football season. We got one more week for Alabama football, but there's still news and notes as they fine-tune that depth chart.
There is, and there was some major recruiting news. We talked about it briefly when Pat called in on the show in hour 1 yesterday about A.K. Deere from Quitman, Mississippi, who committed and is Alabama's second running back commitment in the class. It was their first commitment in several weeks because Alabama went on that tear before Auburn went on theirs, and from late July into August, Alabama went on one from really early June through mid-July and built their class. But Alabama gets A.K. Deere from Quitman, Mississippi, formerly committed to Ole Miss, had reopened his recruitment, and he commits officially to Alabama this week on August the 20th. And we're going to talk about that and get some more fall camp thoughts. I know Rodney in the media got a chance to hear from the offensive side yesterday from a few players and assistant coaches from the University of Alabama. Now it's basically kind of shutting down, though I think Kalen DeBoer will speak to the media after practice later today. And then that will be the last of the media availability this week and really what would be considered the end of fall camp. But we're going to talk to Rodney Orr, the founder and owner of Tighter Insider and the author of Bigger Than Bama, as his good friend Ray Mellick helped him with that work, and it's doing very, very well. And Rodney's with us now this morning. Rodney, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott.
Good morning, Drew. Scott, how are you guys?
We're keeping it between the ditches. It's been an interesting show. We've been trying to have fun, but we certainly are. And Rodney, speaking of having fun, I know Robert Gillespie, the coaching staff, Kalen DeBoer, they were very excited about the news to get what I think is the top running back on their board, A.K. Deere of Quitman, Mississippi, committed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Gillespie obviously was a big key in that. I know that A.K. was, that's who he had a really good relationship with. And I think that had A.K. not been here, it might have been more difficult. I'm sorry, if Gillespie had not been here, it might have been more difficult to land A.K. But, yeah, tremendous player, Quitman, Mississippi. A lot of people, Drew and Scott, ask, where's Quitman? Well, it's not far from Meridian, so he's really not very far from Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
But certainly, when you look at him, he is very explosive, very dynamic with the ball in his hands, great speed. He's got good size, too. He's 6 feet, 200 pounds. You look at him physically, and you can see where he's got a chance to really fill out. He's got a chance to get bigger. And again, he already runs with a lot of power. People think about him as his speed and his, playmaking ability, but he can run between the tackles. He's not afraid to do that. He uses the ball really well. So I think his versatility, as a player, certainly makes him a good fit for Kalen DeBoer's offense.
So does that take care of the running back need then for that class, or
well,
they still?
Good question. It's a great question. Great question, because there is some talk that Turbo Rogers is committed, may flip somewhere else. Turbo's a really dynamic player himself. He's kind of more of a specialty back, maybe not an every down back. I guess it just depends on how you look at it. But he's definitely a guy that's a quality back himself. So there's been some talk that he might eventually flip somewhere else. We'll see. I know there's a kid that they're recruiting, Harry Dalton, who's committed to USC.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good-looking back. I think he visited here at some point this summer. Could they add another back? It wouldn't be surprising if Turbo were to flip, but they would do that. You never can have enough running backs, as you guys know. So that's a strong possibility. Let me rephrase that. That's a possibility. I don't know how strong it is, but it certainly would be something I think they would consider.
Well, and remember last year, it took them a while. That was a big-time saga with Daniel Hill, who's a little banged up right now, but he finally did sign with Alabama. And I think he signed in December, but he committed publicly in January at the All-Star game, I believe at the Under Armour game. And then also they flipped Kevin Riley from Miami, the local kid from Tuscaloosa County. So Alabama kind of put their running back class together late last year. So it'll be interesting. And Ole Miss is certainly going to continue to recruit the young man from Quitman. So will Mississippi State. But, it was interesting that Sills Knight committed to Ole Miss the other day. I took that as the final straw that that he was going to do, AK Deer, what we all thought, which was, at least for now, commit to Alabama, Rodney.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it kind of sealed the deal. He was AK Deer was a Firecracker 5 guy that we had.
That's right.
Back in July. When we did our Firecracker 5. So we pretty much felt confident that he would eventually flip. It was just a matter of time. I did kind of expect it to happen a little earlier, but again, I think he took his time, made this decision, and as we know, and this isn't anything that AK Deer or Caleb Cunningham. It's a different world trying to recruit the state of Mississippi. I mean, they're going to certainly be. It's going to be strong competition. I still think down the stretch from here to December. I think both those guys right now seem to be, and I'm talking about Deer and Caleb Cunningham. Both those guys, I think, are firm commitments. But again, there's going to be a lot of competition. I still think as we move towards December.
Mm-hmm. So now how much recruiting goes on for people that may not pay attention to it all the time? We are getting close to week 1. How much of the attention now does Alabama turn to the season, and how much did they split that with recruiting?
Well, I think right now the focus is certainly, you always keep recruiting in your mirror somewhere, right? I mean, and I think it's you got to do that. So it's really important. They're going to have kids that will come for visits, obviously, for game weekends and all of those types of things. I think it's still going to be really key down the course of the season for sure. There's always going to be guys too that are going to emerge that I think as you watch kind of the season, there may be a couple of prospects that all of a sudden everyone says, hey, he's going to shoot up the charts. He's having a great senior year. He's better. He's matured. All of these different kind of things. That happens every year when you have a guy or two that just kind of shoot up the radar, so to speak. And but also continuing to recruit the future classes, 26, 27. That will still be something that over the course of this season will be a high priority. So you never really lose sight of recruiting, I don't think. But obviously right now, the team as a whole, I think they're focused on getting ready for this opening game against Western Kentucky.
And that, I'm going to piggyback off. That's a perfect segue. Of course, Rodney, you guys heard from Nick Sheridan yesterday, Brian Ellis, certainly Kobe Prentice, who's going to be a big part of this wide receiver group. Caden Proctor for an extended period, really the first time Caden spoke, and since he came back to the University of Alabama. You, of course, had your scrimmage report as well, and I liked your headline that it was brutal. That's what we've been reporting all week, that it was a brutal physical scrimmage. Kalen DeBoer said as much. But your thoughts now that basically fall camp is over, class has started back, where this Alabama team is right now. I took it as a positive that the defense kind of asserted themselves, because I think this offense has a chance to be really good.
Yeah, no, I think it's that's one of the questions I think, and that people have even still is defense. I mean, you had 17 years of Nick Saban, and everyone kind of knew what to expect most of the time with the Nick Saban defense. And I think now people have said, okay, you've got a head coach, Kalen DeBoer, who's kind of noted more for his offensive guru, which he is. That's what he is. And how does that affect the defense? And obviously Kane Womack, has a lot of experience on that defensive side of the ball. His dad was a great defensive coordinator in the SEC for several years, and all of those types of things. And but it was a very, I think, a positive scrimmage in terms of the defense. Again, just how aggressive they were. There was a lot of big blows delivered. Most people I talked to said, yeah, the defense won the day. That's all positive stuff, because you're going to need a top flight defense, in the SEC. I think we still have some of the same concerns. And when you look at this team, when you look at this defense specifically, it's the corner spots, and it's not that they're not talented. It's just that they're going to have a lot of youth, inexperience, the newness there. You've got five new corners. Your top 5 guys are new corners. Damani Jackson has some experience. I mean, he started at USC, but he's new. He did go through spring practice. Deshaun Jones, who transferred in from Wake Forest with 22 games of playing experience, he's new. He's got experience, but he's never played in the SEC. Then you've got the 3 5-star freshmen, Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, and Zay Mincy, and all those guys. All 5 of those guys, I know they're really – Kane Womack has been extremely pleased with the progress they've made. But again, I think he made it pretty clear a couple of days ago. They're going to take some lumps early at least, but they're hoping over the course of time that as they gain experience, those guys with the ability that they have by the end of the year, they're going to be on a different level. That's the hope, right? I mean, they learn from these experiences. So again, I go back to what I said. I really think that it's when you look at this defense, it's the secondary and the inexperience.
And then, Rodney, we've only had one significant injury that we believe in fall camp, and that's to Jaden Roberts. I know you've had your ear to the ground as well. And Kalen DeBoer and even his mother on social media, Jaden's mother, said that he should be ready by game 1. What have you heard about the extent of the injury, and is that what you're hearing as well?
Yes, I didn't see when we were out there when we had our last viewing period. I did not spot Jaden out there, but my understanding is he's going to be doing some things this week and is supposedly going to be back into it here really soon and will be available for Western Kentucky. Now, I'm assuming that means he's probably going to play.
Right.
Could it be that they decided to hold him out? Maybe so. I don't really know, but we'll find out. But I do think that Drew, they expect him back to be ready.
Yeah, and that'll be big for Alabama, no doubt. But they do have Geno Vandermark, who, from what we understand, spent the majority of the time at right guard if he were to be held out. And we'll know more about that because I believe later today, after this afternoon, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer, correct?
Yeah, actually this morning, Drew, with the morning practice.
Yeah, here we go.
He should be available. By 11:30 or so this morning, yes.
Yeah, so we will. Then Rodney Orr will have full coverage from TiderInsider.com. Well, Rodney, we appreciate it. And before you go, I would allow you once again to plug Bigger Than Bama. I know it continues to sell very well. For those that may want a birthday gift, get an early Christmas present, get some Christmas shopping out of the way, let them know how to get the book.
Bigger Than Bama, as you said, Drew, it's available on RodneyOrr.com. That's RodneyOrr.com. Or they can go to Amazon. It's there too. They can find the details of the book on both locations. $19.95 plus shipping and handling. That's our book, Bigger Than Bama. And then, of course, TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. You get instant access with a credit card. If you prefer, there is an address there to send a check. Gives you all our premium information, but also our All Sports Forum. That's our community of Alabama fans. Great community there. A lot of exchange, a lot of discussion, a lot of information. Never really stops there on TiderInsider.com.
It doesn't. Well, Rodney, we look forward to your coverage of Kalen DeBoer later this morning. We appreciate the time. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Drew and Scott, you guys take care.
Let's get a break in. We'll wrap it all up with your tomorrow's headlines next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck at Moores Mill and Darwin that's an injury type, and got one at 72 and Mooresville Road in Limestone County with an overturned vehicle. There is some injury there, but turns out that there's no entrapment. Everything else seems to be winding down nicely. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, blast off.
The Trash Pandas want to help you raise money for your organization. Local nonprofits can enroll in a Trash Pandas ticket fundraiser. Organizations receive a minimum of 20 ticket vouchers at a discounted rate. The vouchers are sold at face value, and the organization keeps 100% of the proceeds up front. No deposit is required. For details, visit TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof, not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford summer sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flosa Premier. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things fun. And if kicking back with the boys to watch the game is your jam, then you're in the right spot. Jump or not, Flo tends to all ages, meaning while you sit back and watch the game, little Jimmy's having the time of his life perfecting that front flip he most definitely wants to show you. You got this, Jimmy. So next time you think Flo, think fun for everyone.
Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling sluggish? Gentlemen, Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health is here to help you. Braden is here. Braden, you've got the answers.
Thanks, Scott. Whether it's low T, erectile dysfunction, weight loss, or a number of other things, we have the solution for them.
It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call today at
256-850-1570.
You can find them online.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, what man wouldn't like to have tests done in a man cave?
That's right. Come in for your free test and consultation, walk into a world-class staff, a comfortable, relaxed environment, and we got your results in about 20 minutes with appointments less than an hour.
And the big game is always on the TV. It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call.
256-850-1570.
You can find them online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Huntsville/The Zone.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
So your tomorrow's headlines today, we run down some Major League Baseball from yesterday.
Tough one for the Braves.
Yep, they
Couldn't
take one
hold
on
on.
the chin, 3-2 to the Phillies.
Yeah.
Series though 1-1.
Right.
I mean, so the Braves haven't gained anything, but they haven't lost anything in the series.
And they're playing tough. They're playing well. They were up 2-0. It was disappointing that they couldn't hold on. Max Fried pitched well. So we'll see if they can still take this series against Philadelphia. We knew it was going to be a tough one, no doubt about it. They're playing Philly, 7 times in the next couple of weeks. So that'll go a long way toward deciding this division. And the Braves, staying ahead in the wild card race because nobody wants to see the Mutts make the playoffs. That's for sure.
Well, they're a game and a half back of the wild card, the final wild card spot. So
the Braves are holding on right now.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
All right. You know what? 256-576-4977. If you want to join the program a little bit, you can. Steve Spurrier, we had him on the show.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Was it last week or the week before?
It was last week, I believe, man. I think.
But anyway, Steve Spurrier decided on who he was going to win, who he wanted. Did you hear this? He picked who he was going to win the SEC this year.
Oh. Okay.
Steve Spurrier got names all mixed up.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to pick Alabama to win the SEC.
Really?
Yeah. I like Jalen DeBoer, and I think their players and their team will say, we don't need our coach to win. We're good enough to win by ourselves. And this guy's a hell of a coach, Jalen DeBoer, and I think they got a schedule they can work with. But that'd be a huge game. I think they do play Texas early. Is that correct? Okay. But obviously, they're Georgia, Texas, and Alabama are the top three. And I just think maybe Alabama will be the team to do it this year. And I'm going to pick the Gators to finish somewhere around 5th or 6th, win between 8 and 10 games, maybe 9, something like that. I think we have a lot of good players. And if we can beat Miami the first game and develop some confidence that we are good enough to win, and now let's go do it, maybe that'll sustain us throughout the course of the season.
And I love Coach, but he got the season screwed up too because they don't play Texas this year, dog.
Well, Jalen DeBoer.
Well, if Jalen Milroe is good under Kalen DeBoer, that does work. You know what I'm saying? Now, we didn't get any beats by Dre, though. Everybody else did on the team. Jalen Milroe gave everybody beats by Dre.
And Miko signed that too as
Did
well.
he?
So now Tennessee will get that. Yeah,
They get the beats by Dre.
Yep, they do.
Brought to you by Philip Fulmer and the Pukes.
Brought to you by Mike from India.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
This is Mike from India.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I love Coach Spurrier, but
Right.
I mean, look, I don't believe Gators are winning 9 or 10 games. I mean, I don't.
But he is right, though. He is right in one aspect. If Florida does beat Miami, that does set a
Oh, it does.
positive tone.
It's
He
a
was
huge
right
opener.
there.
And Chuck Oliver said the same thing. But at least he didn't call him Jalen DeBoer. He got the last name right, Because that threw me last week. DeBoer. Like, it's DeBoer, guys. It's DeBoer. DeBoer.
DeBoer.
Come on, so I can hear something here.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I think we've hit everything today.
What a show. We mentioned India more than we did the University of Alabama almost.
Well,
or Auburn.
Well,
Well, Scott, they're trying to get your money too, trying to get everybody's money.
Trying to get $250.
I know.
Mike from India.
Hello.
Hello.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and